Florida's Women in Energy Leadership Forum was launched to inform, inspire, motivate diverse talent to join the energy workforce by intentional recognition of current female energy leaders who contribute to growing Florida's economy and the purposeful sharing of their professional journeys. We are creating opportunity. Join me each week as we meet new leaders in energy and listen to their important roles in an industry that is vital to the country's future. Welcome to Florida's Women in Energy Leadership Forum. Really excited about today's program because I've got two great personal friends on the show. And so this is going to feel like we're sitting in the living room, Beth, and just chatting up what we know about the industry, and we'll have our people talk here. But we've invited Cheryl Martin to join us. And Cheryl is the Senior Vice President at Chesapeake Utilities over Regulatory and External Affairs. She's going to tell us in a minute what all that means. And Beth Keating is one of the best attorneys I have ever met in my life. Beth is the Tallahassee office shareholder now of the Gunster law firm, where she provides consulting and legal services to electric, natural gas. You've just added water to your portfolio, Beth, and telecommunications clients. So really thrilled to have you both on the show. Thanks for doing it.
Thank you. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. So Cheryl, let's start. Let's start, Cheryl, by embarrassing Beth a little bit, right?
Okay.
Because what would a show with the three of us be without embarrassing Beth a little bit? She's a great lawyer, period, right? And certainly that regulatory expertise that came from the Florida Public Service Commission probably attracted you to her as one of your advocates. Why was that expertise important to you?
Oh, absolutely. That was important. It's a little bit funny. I can tell you that before we worked with Beth, I actually would see her at the commission, representing other clients. And I'm like, ooh, I really like her. And I couldn't quite tell, but, I was intrigued right away by Beth. And then we were acquired in 2009 by Chesapeake Utilities Corporation. And as part of that acquisition, we had the opportunity to find a Florida regulatory legal counsel. And so right away, I'm like, ooh, I know who. And so we called up Beth and began our relationship with her ever since.
It's great. And, Beth, the purpose of the forum and why I started the forum. And one of the main reasons was to really encourage the next generation of workforce talent to be attracted to the electric and gas industries, right? And the idea was if we provide the information and if we inspire them by putting women on an annual program, that maybe they would be motivated to understand that this is a sustainable, high wage workforce opportunity, right? And another reason I was excited about this particular segment is it shows that you are both women in energy in completely different professional segments. You're the lawyer, to Cheryl's policy expertise, to her legislative and regulatory experience. And it really is a great fit. And so I say all of that, Beth, as a groundwork for you to answer this question. Have you found that more and more of your clients have the female-facing client, right?
Absolutely. I think that's something that I've seen grow and develop over the past several years, that there are more and more women in the industry in general. And as a result, there are certainly more and more on the regulatory side of things. And it's always a wonderful opportunity to engage with other women in the industry, particularly those as talented and as patient as Cheryl.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree with that. And I suppose we should disclose, and full disclosure, I'm on Cheryl's parent utility board, Chesapeake Utilities. And so I get to see her and hear her present on her work in a number of states, Florida just being one of them. Florida Public Utilities is a subsidiary of Chesapeake Utilities. And Cheryl, I pose that question to you in a different way. You've been involved in the industry for how many years now?
Oh, gosh, it's over 35 years. I won't quite say the number, but
yeah,
you're right. One thing that, that excites me the most, I think about the past. And when I first got into this industry, there were very, very few women in professional roles, whether it was accounting, IT, certainly not regulatory, management, even operation roles. And it wasn't a matter of just the industry, right? You didn't even see as many females that were even in the college programs for these different types of career paths.
Right.
But it's just remarkable of where we've come, I think, as a country, and the opportunities for women today. It's, just in those 4 decades,
Yeah.
And it's everywhere, right? Just look at our schools or STEM programs that you see all around. So,
But Cheryl, you are instrumental in effectuating that change, not just within our company, but you're the inaugural sponsor, one of the inaugural sponsors of the Florida's Women in Energy Leadership Forum. You took, right after that first forum, you took all that information back and you created an internal Women in Energy group. I mean, you are the example of what I was hoping to achieve at that first forum. I remember saying to all of you, Cheryl, don't take all that information you gained from the forum and stick it on the proverbial shelf, right? You went back, there was a call to action I made. You heard it, you did something with it. You went back to your company and you created a Women in Energy group. How did that get you to where you are today?
Oh, what a great segue. A colleague of mine, Aleda Sequeiros, we went to that first Florida Women in Energy that you had, and there we saw so much enthusiasm and just energy from the women that had attended that with us from our company. So we went back to our office and we're like, hey, we should just do something so that we don't lose that enthusiasm. And we started this informal group and we said, hey, let's just do it once a quarter. We had a meeting over lunch. We brought in lunch. We picked a topic and we just started talking. And the enthusiasm, the networking, the development that we saw in the women that were at our company just from this small informal group was tremendous. And so it just kept growing, right? It just kept evolving and developing. And year after year, we would invite people from our company to attend your Florida Women in Energy. And today we have a full-fledged employee resource group dedicated to the women in energy at our company. And it's evolved into an educational program, networking. We provide, one of the neat things we did, we had a 6-week small group communication and speech development program. Within that group, right, it provided a safe place for females in our company to kind of develop those skills. And they started off with a 1-minute speech and it went for 6 weeks to where they were doing a 5-minute speech. And, each of the members would provide informal feedback to the person that was doing the speech. And, it's just endless, the opportunity. But I can tell you that our company has seen such tremendous growth and support and development for the females of our company. And today we're a different company. And I think we provide so much opportunity for women, and it's the support that they feel and the network, the mentorship that's provided to them that really has made the difference.
Thank you for that, because I was going to ask you at what makes the employee resource group really work for you is that it has substance, right? It has meaning. There is not curriculum, that's probably too strong of a word, but there is professional development. There is some sort of agenda when you all gather. It is not a venue for, oh, woe is me, right? Which I was very, I knew what I didn't want the Florida's Women in Energy Leadership Forum to be, right? It was not a place where we would all come together and talk about the world not being fair. It was, this is what I've done in my career. I want to tell you about my career, tell you about my company, and encourage you to pursue similar opportunities. At a smaller scale at Florida Public Utilities, you did that. And then you were able to, you then grew it into the parent company. And that gave you larger exposure within the company for the effort, right?
Oh, absolutely. And it's not uncommon. The support starts at our CEO, who actually is a male, right? Jeff Householder. But if you would see the support that he provides to the women in our company, it's just tremendous.
It is.
Right? And so I think our employees feel that. We may have guest speakers at a Women in Energy event that might be male, might be female. It's at all layers, but company-wide, the people feel the benefit, see the benefit, and it's just, it's a tremendous thing for the development of all of our employees.
And it takes all of us. It takes all of us to put these opportunities forward. And you're so right about it starting from the top as it relates to our company with Jeff Householder. He really is a champion for women in energy. And Beth, one might think, well, law firms don't do this, but you have a different story, don't you? What does Gunster do in terms of professional development for women lawyers?
Absolutely. Gunster has a program that's not too different than the program that Cheryl just described with Chesapeake. We have the Women's Leadership Program or Forum, and it's a great resource. We have quarterly meetings and we put on programming, and anyone can participate, not just women, but it's very women focused. And we cover a range of topics from things like recruiting and retention of female lawyers to topics like how to grow your business. We've had presentations by more senior women attorneys where we've had panels that people could ask questions about, how did you handle this situation? Or how did you navigate this client relationship and things like that. And it's been very productive and not only just from the substantive aspect, but, we're spread out across the state. We've got offices in all the major cities of the state. And it's really provided a great opportunity to connect with other female attorneys and other offices that we otherwise probably wouldn't see on a real regular basis. So it's been great.
That's good, Beth. So if that doesn't give you a pitch for future recruits to join Gunster, I really don't know what could, right? What a great recruit tool as well.
Absolutely. It's always been a great place to work. It's I tell people Gunster is family. It's my work family, but we understand that everybody comes at the practice of law from a slightly different, personal perspective. And we know the value that women lawyers can bring to the practice of law. And we're very engaged in making sure that all our female attorneys feel engaged, appreciated, and that we're welcoming of new female lawyers.
That's excellent. So Cheryl, let's turn to Chesapeake for a minute and let's talk about the opportunities that lie ahead. What, as you think about the industry and where we are as a company, what has your most attention right now? What are you most excited about?
It's funny. I've been in the industry, like we said, for over 35 years. And the one thing that I'm most excited about, and it probably stems from all of the activities we've done in our employee resource groups, but it's truly helping others prepare for their future, whether it's mentorship or employee development. It is so rewarding to be part of our succession planning for the company. And what I mean by that is, what can I do personally to help encourage others, to educate others, to support them, to be a resource? That's one of the things I'm most excited about. There's so much talent at our company, and it's amazing to me. I've witnessed it, of just providing a little bit of that support will help encourage somebody to take the next step, to just give them a little push that, oh, I can do that, right? And I've seen it. I see that time and time again, we're promoting people that I have helped to talk to and just encourage them a little bit. So that to me is what I'm most excited about. And it's also, you just keep learning. There's never been a better time to be in the energy industry from my perspective, right? Being part of making lives better for our communities. And it might sound cliche, but it's more important than ever.
Right. Absolutely. What you do, you've heard me say this before, and I've certainly said it at least once a week on this show. We cannot underestimate the impact of the energy industry to the world's economy, right? And when you talk about lighting up an employee's, pardon the pun, an employee's career, that only makes them more productive, which makes for a better company, which makes for a better industry. And, it's helping one person at a time. And Cheryl, it's my turn to embarrass you. I've learned so much from you. And I think the rewards that Chesapeake will feel from your service to that company, we will feel for decades to come. I think you only see the immediate impact, Cheryl, but I think we're going to be talking about Cheryl Martin and what you've done there internally for years to come. And so this is actually my opportunity to say thank you to both of you. And so it was your turn. I can't always just embarrass Beth. It's got to be your turn too.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I know we'll kill you later, though. Beth, I'll ask you the same question. So practicing before the PSC, both at the PSC and of course, before the commission now in an advocacy role, you've had an inside view on the changes in energy and, what are those challenges and opportunities that you see coming down the pike?
So honestly, the biggest thing that I feel like I've seen over the past, 10, 15, 20 years is I feel like the industries and the issues and people are less siloed than they used to be. Everything is more interconnected, and there's a recognition of that. And so, I think there's a recognition too that there's not a one size fits all kind of answer for every issue too. So what works for one utility may not be the best approach for another utility, and that's okay. I think too, we're seeing a crossover more between not just between electric and gas, but electric, gas, water, and telecom. I mean, we're all about providing service to customers in a safe, reliable means and at fair and reasonable rates. And it's going to take working together and solving problems together. And I think that's just going to continue into the future.
Yeah, I'll have to share with both of you. I've got being able to step away a bit now from what you do day in and day out at the PSC. I've got a different kind of seat where I'm watching all the industries. And when I see other industries try to replicate a practice the two of you have created for natural gas. And I know it just because I know it, right? Working with the two of you. But when I see the other industries replicate something that you all created and had passed through the regulatory process, it really it warms my heart, because it's like, hey, Cheryl and Beth did that first. And you know the kinds of things I'm talking about, some of the regulatory clause mechanisms, or maybe that special acronym that followed infrastructure replacement, hypothetically speaking. And it's just so it warms the heart, because I know who created that first, and it's the two of you, and that has to bring a smile.
Cheryl
to
and I are nothing.
You're innovative. You're innovative.
Cheryl and I are nothing if not creative.
That's right. And, but on that note, Beth, if you and I, again, were in that, as we like to say, in the hotel room or in our living room, and we were kind of lamenting about the regulatory environment 10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago, right? Maybe 15 years ago, it might not have been as constructive, whether regulatory or political, as it is now. And when we talk about a constructive environment, sort of, good, solid decision making that allows companies like ours to know where to make an investment, and that we've got some sort of certainty that if we do all the things we're supposed to do, that there will be, a regulatory mechanism that lends itself for more investment, right? That wasn't the case, I would say, 15 years ago, right? And today, though, when you look at it today, would you both agree with me that thankfully it's a little bit different, and the benefit of that are our constituents, right? Our public. Cheryl, you've seen that. You've seen the controversies, and you've seen what the company has been able to do now and what the industry has done overall. How important is that regulatory certainty to a company like yours?
Oh, it's extremely important. And I know that maybe some of the viewers don't know that, but I know you two know that. Our company is different, I think. I mean, a lot of companies do, but we truly care about our customers, the communities we serve. And so when we think about what are some opportunities to help save our customers money or provide them a different service or to keep them safe, we think about what can we do in the regulatory environment and how do you do that? So as long as you're doing things that truly benefit those customers, there should be a way to do that. And so just educating the people we need to educate, thinking about how we can utilize the regulatory process to help bring some of those things to fruition, I think is sound. The reason it's successful is because we've been able to prove they're sound, they make sense to the communities, and you need that support of the regulatory agencies for utility companies to be able to do some of those things. And we found them to be very open to those ideas, mm-hmm. when you can prove that they truly are beneficial.
Right. Beth, you agree? And of course, now you've got a little bit more involvement on the political side, and the fact that the political environment is just as conducive can only be helpful to you and your work as well with the companies.
Absolutely. I think it's critical that the commission takes a holistic approach, which it does, and understands that we're all just trying to do the best for our clients, and our clients are trying to do the best for their customers. And I found, particularly over the past few years, that the Florida Commission in particular, is open to new ideas, to new approaches. They may not necessarily love every one of them, but they're willing to work with companies to find a solution that ultimately benefits the company and the ratepayers, and is workable for the commission. So yes, it's a very healthy environment in Florida. Come to Florida.
Yeah, exactly. Come to Florida, home. Yeah. So I interviewed Commissioner Gabby Pasadomo last month, Beth, and she and I were both commenting that wherever we go, the Florida Commission staff is the highest of the high in terms of just work performance and subject matter expertise. And obviously you're a graduate of that. And it doesn't matter how, where we are, which state, you always hear people say great things about the Florida Commission. And I, we're biased obviously in that regard, but the subject matter expertise and the specialization that we were able to obtain from working with the Florida PSC is really unmatched. You don't see that kind of expertise in any other state. And, we're still hearing about some of the folks that you and I worked with are there 35 years, right? 25 years, 35 years, and very loyal to the agency and very good at what they do.
Absolutely. Some of the best staff in the industry, experts in their fields. And thankfully, they are very patient in talking to attorneys like me and teaching me the ins and outs of regulatory accounting and engineering and pipeline safety and things like that. It was a godsend to work at the PSC because there really were staff that would sit down with, a brand new lawyer with a political science degree and talk about, what these concepts were and why it mattered and how the application of the law to those technical issues had an impact on utilities and the ratepayers. So, I can't say enough about the commission staff then or now, frankly.
But Beth, it's not what you went to law school for, is it?
No.
Yeah. What were you going to do, Beth? Yeah. What were you going to do? I was going to be, not that we didn't litigate at the PSC. I was going to be a litigator and just fell into the PSC staff position. As you know, I have a feeling you've got a similar story, but I ask that because I want our students who listen in on this podcast to know the lesson of being flexible and not being wed to just one, this is what I want to do and nothing else. I'm not going to consider anything else. If we had taken that approach, you and I wouldn't be working together. We wouldn't be where we are now. And which is not bad. I think we've had a rewarding career doing utility consulting work. And certainly I think fondly of my time on the Public Service Commission, as you both know. So what did you think you were doing, Beth? Uh-oh, we've got Beth is frozen for a minute.
Okay.
Yeah, Beth is frozen for a minute. We'll come back to Beth.
Sure.
Cheryl, let's get, so that all of that is nice, great constructive political and regulatory environment. Let's talk about the natural gas debate and where, so we've talked about the opportunities. Let's talk about the threats to your business. What's the status of all of that?
Well, the ironic part, we continue to see increased demand, and not just in Florida. We see increased demand in all of the areas that we're serving. So this is a critical energy choice. And, naturally it's imperative, right, for our nation's energy independence, for our continued economic well-being. We all know that we're supporting a transition to a cleaner energy future, as a matter of fact, over the past 30 years or so, we've seen a significant shift to natural gas fueled power generation. And you know what? It's improved our nature's air quality. Natural gas overtook coal in electric generation. And so as a result, it's decreased our carbon emissions significantly. From a worldwide viewpoint, it's been superb and important in that cleaner energy choice. But one of the things we see is we need to continue to educate political stakeholders, community stakeholders. We have got to make sure that everybody understands the value and the importance of natural gas. You sometimes hear narratives out there that, it's bad for the environment. But the truth is we don't have an infrastructure that can support an all electric environment. And as a matter of fact, I don't think we would want one. There is an important part that natural gas is going to play in the decades to come. We just need,
Yeah. So Cheryl, for folks who are not as familiar, simple question: is natural gas safe?
Absolutely. Natural gas is a safe, reliable, and affordable energy choice. And it's imperative that it remains an energy choice for the communities that we serve, for our nation.
We used to think of it in terms of renewable energy. We used to think of it as the bridge to solar, right? Does it continue to be that fundamental choice to get us into to support, I guess, renewable energy?
I think renewable natural gas is part of the solution, right? As a company, we're doing our part to explore opportunities in the renewable space. Renewable energy will capture methane from food waste, from animal manure, garbage, whatnot, and we can redirect it from the environment and repurpose the methane and making renewable natural gas. It reduces greenhouse gas emissions. It improves local air and water quality. It creates jobs in rural areas, right? It's part of the state, the nation's fuel and energy security.
It's an economic development tool. So I guess you don't want to say it. I'll say it. It's chicken poop to energy, right? Right? It's chicken poop to energy. I don't know. That's my new thing when we talk about renewable natural gas, and what it's win-win, right? Because you do have, as in a state like Delaware, we do have a lot of chicken farmers, right? And I know we've been very public about some opportunities there with the farmers and Chesapeake. But you've had a recent announcement in Florida too, right?
We absolutely have. We have just begun construction on our first full-scale RNG production facility. It's at the Full Circle Dairy Farm in Madison County, Florida. And it's a partnership with dairy farmers. And this project's going to capture and clean methane from cow manure. We're really proud of it and we're excited.
Yeah, very rural area, very job centric, and of course touches on the renewable natural gas. So Beth, welcome back. You have to love Wi-Fi. Where we left it, we were awaiting your answer. What did you think you were doing after law school?
Oh gosh. So I wasn't entirely sure, but I was most interested in television and communications. I'd had a background in that to some degree before college and during college. And I really thought that I was going to go work for Ted Turner in Atlanta. But that's not how it worked out. And I ended up interviewing for a job at the Public Service Commission. And in all candor, I had no idea what the Public Service Commission did. Even when I went in for the interview, but a very kind gentleman interviewed me and somehow saw that I would still make a good employee. And I guess the rest is history.
Well, it's probably the trivia. So here's some trivia for the viewers. One of our guests was a DJ. Which one of our guests was a DJ? Go ahead, Beth. Go ahead. Tell us about that.
So when I was in college, I worked at a small radio station that was about 20 miles from the college that I went to. It was not a college radio station. It was a regular broadcast radio station. And I did that for a couple of years.
Gosh, did you know that, Cheryl?
I did not know that.
So we do this. It's the personal stories that, inform, inspire, motivate you. Yeah, Beth is not just a great lawyer. She's a recovering DJ, Cheryl.
That explains everything, right?
Yeah, right? Exactly,
Oh.
exactly.
And
Exactly.
and there are so many stories that come from that.
Oh my! So we have to do a part 2 to this.
Yeah.
Probably in the evening. It's the evening version, probably. Yeah, yeah. Well, so ladies, we can do this forever, but I know that everyone's got to shut down and go to their day jobs. And Cheryl, so I always like to close out with the question: what advice would you give that third year student looking for a career in energy? But answer that and then talk about anything you'd like to that is on your heart.
Sure. One thing I would say is don't be so specific on what you think your career is going to look like, right? Be open to opportunities. And the other thing, we touched on it, but when you do get that chance and you are at your first company, develop relationships with people throughout the company, not just those that you're immediately working with. This is going to allow you to open opportunities to explore all sorts of different avenues you might take in your career. And it's going to help make you successful even at the position that you're in, right? Developing those relationships. That's key, right?
It is key. It is key. And Cheryl, all the times you've been offered different positions, thank God. I always say, I'm not going to say this, but I always say it. You're so key in what Jeff Householder has been able to do with this company, thankfully. In all those opportunities you've been offered, was there ever a doubt in your mind that you were qualified or capable or, could do it?
Well, I've been fortunate to have support and mentorship by a lot of people in my company. So although I might have been scared, and one shouldn't think, I think everybody is scared to take that next step, to do something different. But you have to find that in yourself and know there's tons of people around you that are there to support you. If you've got the ambition, the desire, the initiative, you can learn any job, and I found that. But it's okay to be scared and it's okay to be nervous, right? To try those opportunities, but explore them, right? And nothing says you can't try it out by, hey, let me do a ride along and see exactly what a day in the life of a Beth Keating is. I'd like to see what a regulatory attorney does each day and explore it that way before you commit to it. There's so much. And take advantage of everything that you're offered, whether it's the Florida Women in Energy, that Lila, that you do, whether it's other leadership programs in the state that you live or the college that you go to or the community you live in. Take advantage of those and just create those relationships, talk to people, develop spot mentorships, monthly mentorships throughout the community. And things
absolutely. And people want to do that for you.
They do.
People really, I think if you take the opportunity and just ask, it's always well received. It's always well received. They want to share their knowledge with you.
They absolutely do. And you said I could share anything else that I wanted to. I just want to give props to Beth Keating because I don't think I've said enough thank yous in my year working with her. But, one of the things that has allowed her to be such an effective partner with us, yes, she's extremely capable and competent as an attorney. But you know what makes the difference to me is that she listens, she communicates at a level that I can understand, and she truly cares and that trust is there. So, you can't take something like that for granted. So I just thought I would.
No. And it's bigger than a billable hour, isn't it? It's hard to explain, but it is an advocate that is great enough that you forget it's an external source, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a partner.
Yeah, it's a partner. That's exactly right. So, Beth, what's your advice to that third year student or law student? Poor Beth. Not only have we embarrassed her, but we keep like kicking her off of Wi-Fi. Have you noticed that? Because
Yes.
it's like I am going to have so much to pay for after this show. Do you know? Like she's gonna just kill me.
Well, maybe Lila, since Beth's off, maybe you can give some advice to students because I know
Thank you. Oh my goodness. It's different when the question is posed to me. Flexibility, of course, right? But the power of relationships, the things that they don't really teach you in school necessarily, but you see it when you're hiring people, right? You see it when you're hiring people, the humility to recognize what you don't know and then being able to ask someone for advice, I think is really, really important. And that person or group, they become your relationship and your kitchen table, as we like to say. I think learning that early on in your career is very important. And then the second thing, Cheryl, it's the question I asked you. We hear, I don't know if it's true. I know only from my personal experience. We hear that women, when they're offered jobs, sometimes are hesitant in the beginning, and the thought process is, "Can I do it? Am I qualified?" Whereas our counterparts are yes, and then they rise to the occasion or not, but they're not as cautious in accepting the opportunities. And when we self-reflect, I know that about me. I haven't always immediately said yes. I've got to noodle on something first, and that's not always the right thing to do, because it does leave in the person that's offering you that opportunity a little bit of, did I make the right decision? So
No, that's I think that's true for a lot of people, right? I think that's early on. But the good news is, at least I believe, there's so much support now for employees and students to just kind of help to guide you through some of those decisions as well.
Absolutely. Beth, let me tell you, when I give up this show, or if I'm ever sick, Cheryl's taking over. Because when we kicked you off Wi-Fi, Beth, which I know you're going to kill me later, but when we kicked you off Wi-Fi, Cheryl asked me a question. How about that?
Sorry.
No. So you always have to have the last word, Beth. You always have to have the last word. Yeah. So
that's
you get the last word. What advice would you give that student?
Well, first, let me say thank you to Cheryl. Cheryl is just a blessing to work with. She's just a good person, and she's taught me so much about regulatory accounting. And it's a pleasure to work with her and her team at Florida Public Utilities. It really is. And thank you to you for being a mentor and friend all these years. It's really, I wouldn't be anywhere without Lila. So thank you for that. And then as far as for a third year, I think I'd say pretty much what Cheryl said. Like, it's okay to fail. It's okay to be afraid to fail, but it really is okay to fail. And so don't let that be the guide for what you choose to do. Be scared, but do it anyway. You are so much more capable than you really know, and you won't know what your limits really are until you test them. So look for those opportunities, open yourself up to those relationships, and ask questions. Questions.
Great advice.
I certainly did and still do all the time. So
great question. Great advice. Yeah. And Beth does ask great questions. Usually Cheryl, right? The phone call goes like this: I have a stupid question. And you're about to be floored, right? Yeah. Great advice, Beth. Thank you. So we're going to see each other again at this year's Florida's Women in Energy Leadership Forum. This year it's August 14th through the 16th. Our theme is build relationships, build people, and build infrastructure that makes our state and the Southeast, this is not Florida centric, just better than what they are today. Thank you, ladies, for being here. Thank you both for sponsoring the forum, being my champions, and being friends to me and to the industry. Appreciate you so much. Thanks for doing this. See you later.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.